Okay, let's unpack this. When we think of Maryland, our minds often drift to its stunning waters, iconic historic landmarks, maybe even the mouth-watering crab.
Yeah, definitely the crabs. And the history, of course.
Right. But our deep dive today takes us down a decidedly different path into a side of the old line state that's, well, brimming with restless spirits and chilling legends. We're about to explore Maryland's incredibly rich and frankly spooky paranormal landscape using a stack of articles, research, and our own notes as your guide.
And what's truly striking from our deep dive into these sources is how seamlessly Maryland's historical narrative intertwines with its haunted reputation. It's really quite remarkable.
How so?
Well, each site isn't just the place where something happened. It seems to carry the very echoes of past events, offering this unique, sometimes unsettling lens through which to understand history itself.
Like the history is still alive, in a way.
Exactly. From its earliest colonial struggles to the profound tragedies of the Civil War, the sheer intensity of human experience, suffering, and raw emotion appears to have left an indelible spiritual imprint. It's fascinating.
That's precisely it. So, our mission today is to give you a shortcut to being truly well-informed about some of Maryland's most captivating haunted places. We'll be revealing some surprising facts, and yes, just enough humor to keep you hooked as we delve into these tales.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
And where better to start with spectral echoes than where the deepest scars were left, the battlefields themselves. We begin with the profound impact of war on Maryland's spectral landscape.
Makes sense. Intense emotion, intense events.
And there's no more somber a place than Antietam National Battlefield in Sharpsburg. This wasn't just a battle. September 17th, 1862 marked the bloodiest single-day battle in the Civil War.
The numbers are just staggering. Over 23,000 casualties, right?
Exactly, 23,000. Can you even imagine that level of concentrated loss in one day?
It's almost impossible to comprehend.
And our sources consistently highlight reports of ghostly soldiers in tattered uniforms, phantom gunfire, and the distant, eerie sound of marching drums. It's classic battlefield haunting stuff, but seems really prevalent there.
Right, those residual energies.
But what's particularly chilling are the screams said to emanate from St. Paul Episcopal Church nearby, and some witnesses have even reported a Gaelic battle cry echoing in the fields.
A Gaelic battle cry. That's incredibly specific.
Isn't it? It's an incredibly intense place where visitors often report feeling watched or experiencing sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature. The usual cold spots.
What our deep dive into the Antietam reports truly reveals is not just general residual energy, but an incredibly specific, almost granular sensory echo, like you said, that Gaelic cry,
Yeah.
or the type of gunfire people report hearing. These details suggest a far more persistent and individualized energetic imprint than typical, pointing directly to the intense, personalized moments of trauma captured there.
So it's not just background noise, it's like specific moments replaying.
It's as if the land itself recorded the exact nature of the suffering. That's what the accounts suggest anyway.
Wow. Okay, from the open fields of Antietam, let's move to a different kind of war-torn site, one that's globally recognized but holds a surprisingly dark, multifaceted history. Fort McHenry in Baltimore.
Ah, Fort McHenry, the Star-Spangled Banner.
Exactly. We all know it as the place where Francis Scott Key penned the anthem during the War of 1812. But what our sources emphasize is its extensive, often tragic history beyond that pivotal moment.
Right, it wasn't just that one event.
Not at all. It morphed from a War of 1812 stronghold to a Civil War prison camp, and then, devastatingly, a hospital during the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic.
That's 3 distinct layers of intense human suffering all in one location. War, imprisonment, disease.
And all that collective anguish from our research has left undeniable marks. People report seeing specters roaming the grounds, hearing disembodied voices, unexplained footsteps.
And those unnatural pockets of cold again, a common theme.
Very common. There are even specific named spirits people report. Lieutenant Levi Claggett, who was tragically crushed by a cannon,
Oh, horrible.
and Private John Drew, who committed suicide in a prison cell, apparently tormented by shame after falling asleep on duty.
Deeply personal tragedies lingering there.
But what genuinely stands out in the accounts, and it's mentioned quite a bit, is a particularly hostile female figure. She's speculated to be the wife of an officer whose children died there from the Spanish flu.
Hostile how?
Visitors describe her as pushing them, even physically assaulting them, knocking them over, reportedly.
Wow, that's aggressive. Not just a fleeting shadow.
Definitely not.
The layered history of Fort McHenry is key here. Our sources indicate that these distinct periods of tragedy, the sudden violence of battle, the prolonged despair of imprisonment, and the agonizing widespread illness of the flu, don't just create a general haunted atmosphere. Instead, they appear to manifest as very different types of hauntings, each resonating with its specific historical trauma. You have the persistent, almost looping energy of the soldiers.
Like Antietam, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. Then the deep sorrow of Private Drew, and then this raw, aggressive rage of the woman who lost her children.
So different emotions, different types of hauntings.
It's a remarkable convergence of distinct emotional energies, each seemingly leaving its own unique signature on the place.
Fascinating. Okay, so we've explored the collective echoes of war, but sometimes it's the intense personal anguish of individuals that anchors a spirit.
Right, shifting from the masses to the one.
And nowhere is that more evident, perhaps, than with the Dr. Samuel A. Mudhouse Museum in Waldorf. This is where history gets personal and undeniably spooky.
Ah, the Lincoln assassination connection.
That's the one. Dr. Mudd gained notoriety for his distinction to John Wilkes Booth, who sought treatment for his broken leg here after assassinating Abraham Lincoln.
And Mudd's involvement has always been debated, right?
Yeah.
Was he complicit or just a doctor doing his job?
Exactly. His subsequent imprisonment for complicity, despite a later pardon, forever tarnished his reputation. That unresolved question hangs heavy.
And that energy lingers in the house.
Apparently so. Today, visitors to the house report cold presences, unexplained knocking, and famously, the very bed Booth slept in being mysteriously messed up even when untouched.
The bed being disturbed. That's a classic poltergeist type sign.
And what's even wilder, our deep dive into paranormal investigations there shows that the TV show Ghost Hunters reportedly captured a strange voice. An EVP.
Oh, what did it say?
It apparently said, "I am innocent."
Wow. Directly addressing the controversy.
Right. We also find numerous sightings of Dr. Mudd's ghost himself, his wife Frances, and even electric candles flickering during Civil War reenactments held there, like a persistent replay.
The persistence of that historical debate surrounding Dr. Mudd's guilt or innocence is what makes this haunting so compelling, I think.
How do you mean?
Our sources suggest the "I am innocent" voice isn't just a generic echo, but potentially an intelligent haunting, a conscious attempt at communication.
Like he's still trying to clear his name?
Possibly. A quest for posthumous vindication. It speaks to the lingering anguish over his tarnished reputation, almost as if the fervent arguments that surrounded his trial are still playing out energetically.
So the unresolved history becomes part of the haunting.
It's a powerful example of how deeply unresolved historical narratives can embed themselves into a place, becoming part of its energetic fabric.
Okay, moving from specific historical figures, we uncover something quite different now. The enduring and often terrifying power of local legends, cryptids, and folklore.
Ah, the fun stuff. Or maybe not so fun, depending on the legend.
Exactly. And Maryland has some truly chilling ones. You simply can't ignore the legend of the Goat Man of Fletchertown Road in Bowie.
The Goat Man. Yes, I came across that one. Definitely memorable.
It's pure local lore with a terrifying twist, and our research uncovered two distinct origin stories for this creature.
What are they?
Well, some say he was a goat farmer driven completely mad after teens killed his goats. Kind of a classic vengeance tale.
Okay. Understandable rage, maybe?
Others believe he's the result of a human-animal experiment gone horribly wrong at the nearby Beltsville Research Agricultural Center.
Whoa. Like a science fiction horror scenario. That's
Yeah.
quite different.
Right. Either way, the stories are designed to give you the chills. This half-goat, half-man figure, often described as covered in blood,
Yikes.
is said to decapitate dogs, scare teens parked in deserted areas, and was even linked, according to some accounts, to a murderous spree with an axe back in the 1950s and 60s.
Okay, that escalated quickly. Axe murders.
That's the legend. Witnesses describe him with bloodshot eyes and grimy attire. It's certainly a vivid, unsettling image.
Our sources indicate that the Goat Man legend, with its two distinct origin stories, one rooted in rural vengeance, the other in scientific hubris, is particularly potent in Maryland.
Why Maryland specifically?
This dual narrative, as our deep dive suggests, possibly reflects the state's unique blend of, advanced research institutions like Beltsville and its historic rural communities.
Ah, that tension between old and new, science and nature.
Exactly. It's not just a generic urban legend. It's a localized manifestation of broader societal anxieties playing out in a uniquely Maryland way. It taps into primal fears of the unknown,
The monster in the woods.
while also serving as a cautionary tale, maybe spun around a kernel of a real unsettling event from the past. We don't know for sure, of course.
Still creepy. Okay, from the creature of folklore, let's transition to a seemingly picturesque wooden bridge that hides a multitude of ghostly tales. The Jericho Covered Bridge in Kingsville, built in 1865.
Covered bridges always seem to attract ghost stories, don't they? There's something inherently atmospheric about them.
This one definitely does. It's a known hotspot for varied paranormal activity. Reports include spectral figures swinging from the rafters.
Swinging. Like hangings.
That's the implication in some tales, yeah. Also, a woman in Ami clothing, or sometimes described with a badly burned face, and even a young girl carrying a basket of flowers.
The real mix of apparitions.
And get this, an animal-like creature said to guard the bridge.
A guardian. Interesting. Like the goat man almost.
Sort of. What's really intriguing is a specific nighttime ritual people talk about.
A ritual? Do tell.
You drive over the bridge, turn around, stop in the middle, look through the back window, and then step hard on the brakes.
Okay. And what happens?
Those who try it report their cars stalling unexpectedly. And some even claim inexplicable handprints appear in powder they've sprinkled on their car beforehand.
Handprints. From who or what?
That's the mystery. The most gruesome tales, which seem strongly supported by local lore and our research, suggest the bridge was a site for the lynching of enslaved African Americans or maybe soldiers after the Civil War.
That would certainly explain the swinging figures and, potentially, the intense energy, a deeply tragic past.
Absolutely. It adds a very dark layer to the place.
You know, the specific physical nature of the hauntings at Jericho Bridge, particularly the handprints and stalling cars associated with that detailed ritual, is highly indicative.
Indicative of what?
Our deep dive into the historical context reveals that if this indeed was a site for lynchings, as suggested, it points to a profound human tragedy. This is a level of suffering that could leave an intense, almost interactive psychic imprint on a physical structure.
So the interaction, the handprints, the stalling suggests something more than just residual energy.
Possibly. Bridges, being transitional spaces, often attract such activity anyway, but the repeated, almost theatrical nature of these specific manifestations here points to a deeply embedded and possibly very angry spiritual energy tied to that horrific history.
Makes sense. Okay, our journey continues as we explore historic buildings and cemeteries where spirits are said to linger, often in isolation. Let's turn our attention to the Point Lookout Lighthouse in Scotland, Maryland.
Point Lookout. That name comes up a lot in Maryland's dark history. Wasn't it also a notorious prison camp?
It was. The whole area is steeped in history, lighthouse, Civil War hospital, prisoner of war camp. Our sources describe it as an incredibly eerie place, so much so that the renowned parapsychologist Dr. Hans Holzer investigated it.
Holzer. Right, one of the pioneers. What did he find?
Our deep dive into Holzer's findings reveals he and his team reportedly recorded 24 different spectral voices.
24? That's a huge number.
A truly staggering number. Visitors today still experience sudden chills and odd smells. The ghost of Ann Davis, the first lighthouse keeper's wife, is often seen at the top of the stairs, still watching apparently.
So keep and watch.
And then there's the gaunt man in Civil War garb, smelling distinctly of mildew and gunpowder.
Oh, phantom smells too. Olfactory hauntings.
Believed to have died in a smallpox unit there. This isn't just one or two apparitions. It's described as a truly multi-sensory haunting experience.
With a history so rich in both suffering and solitude, Point Lookout Lighthouse, as our research underscores, presents kind of a perfect storm for a multi-sensory haunting experience.
What's the solitude aspect?
Well, lighthouses are, by their very nature, isolated places, often manned by individuals in solitary roles. Combine that isolation with the immense collective suffering of a Civil War hospital and prison camp, it creates a unique, energetic resonance.
Like a container for all that emotion.
Exactly. The sheer volume and variety of spectral voices Holzer documented implies an almost continuous replay of past events and emotions, maybe amplified by the confined, isolated environment.
Chilling. Next, we visit the Jonathan Hager House Museum in Hagerstown. This is the 18th century home of Hagerstown's founder.
Hager House, right, another place with deep roots.
Deep roots and a varied past. This house served as a residence, a trading post, and even a frontier fort. And over its long, storied history, our records show at least 13 documented deaths occurred within its walls.
13 deaths. That alone sets a pretty spooky stage.
Doesn't it? Apparitions of a man in black on the porch, children running on stairs, and the distinct smell of tobacco are common reports.
Phantom tobacco smoke. Another sensory one.
Workers there are so convinced of the activity that they actively offer ghost tours. They report disembodied voices, objects moving on their own, and sounds from the cellar like footsteps or dragging.
The cellar often seems to be an active spot in haunted houses.
Seems so. The nursery, in particular, is noted as very active. A rocking chair and cradle apparently sway on their own, accompanied by unexplained temperature fluctuations.
Rocking chairs moving. Classic.
And there's a specific spirit. A little girl who's known to tug at women visitors and even influence a corncob dolls movement. Camera malfunctions are also reported frequently around her presence.
It's compelling how domestic spaces, especially those with such deep continuous histories and multiple families like the Hammonds and Downons residing there over time,
Yeah.
how they can become so deeply imprinted with past emotional lives. Unlike a battlefield singular trauma, a home contains the full, intimate spectrum of human experience. Births, deaths, joys, sorrows, daily routines.
Everyday stuff, not just the big tragedies.
Right. What our deep dive suggests is that it's not just the trauma that lingers, but the very essence of lives lived. This manifests in these specific, often quite tender personal hauntings, like the little girl tugging at visitors. It's less about terror, more about presence.
A lingering connection. Okay, from historic homes, we head to a grand, still operational hotel. The Lord Baltimore Hotel in Baltimore.
Ah, a functioning hotel.
Yeah.
So people stay there amidst the alleged hauntings.
They do. It opened in 1928, was the largest hotel in Maryland at the time, a real beacon of opulence. But despite its grand facade, our sources paint a decidedly unsettling reputation.
What kind of reports?
Guests report unsettling dreams, feeling watched, and even hands pressing on their bodies in the elevator and lobby.
Whoa, physical contact. That's unnerving.
Definitely. What's truly specific and repeatedly documented is the elevator. It frequently ascends to the 19th floor unprompted.
The 19th floor, why there?
That's where a young girl with a red ball is often seen. Sometimes she's crying, rocking, or even screaming.
The child spirit. Those are always particularly poignant. Any story behind her?
She's believed to be the daughter of a married couple who tragically committed suicide in the hotel after the 1929 stock market crash.
Ah, the Great Depression connection. Another layer of intense historical trauma.
Right. And guests also report tugging at their bed sheets. Again, a very intimate, almost childlike form of haunting.
The specific recurring details of the Lord Baltimore haunting, the elevator's unprompted ascent, the little girl with the red ball, truly speak to the intensity of those personal tragedies.
It seems very focused, doesn't it?
It does. Our research indicates that the despair of the 1929 stock market crash victims, especially the parents who took their own lives, created such a concentrated emotional event that their grief continues to echo decades later.
So the hotel becomes a stage for this recurring scene.
In a way, yeah. It becomes a container for these intense, almost ritualistic, emotional replays, highlighting how profound personal trauma can anchor a spirit, or at least the memory of one, to a place.
Okay, our final major stop takes us to St. Paul's Cemetery in Chestertown, a historical graveyard on the grounds of one of the oldest churches on the East Coast.
Cemeteries are almost expected to be haunted, but this one sounds significant.
It really is. It's considered one of the most haunted cemeteries in North America, according to our sources. That's a big claim.
That is a big claim. What makes it stand out?
Well, there are specific famous apparitions. Tench Tilghman, a Revolutionary War officer, is reportedly seen with his lantern, still performing his duties, perhaps?
Still on duty after all these years.
And you can even find the grave of the actress Tallulah Bankhead. Visitors claim to hear her distinctive raspy voice near her grave and find mysterious mementos left behind.
Tallulah Bankhead. Huh. That's unexpected celebrity ghosts.
Right. But beyond these specific figures, our research shows widespread reports of general activity. Church doors opening and closing on their own, disembodied voices, objects shifting.
Standard poltergeist-like phenomena.
Sorrowful Victorian women apparitions, flickering lights, cold spots, and that unsettling feeling of being stalked or watched. Ghostly Civil War soldiers are also a common sight here, too.
It sounds like a convergence point for many different eras and spirits.
It really seems to be.
This site powerfully underscores the sheer volume and diversity of history and fallen lives present. With graves dating back centuries, including those from the Battle of Coxfield during the War of 1812.
Right, another battle connection.
And both Union and Confederate Civil War soldiers buried there, St. Paul's Cemetery, as our deep dive reveals, acts as a profound spiritual nexus.
A crossroads for spirits.
You could say that. The cumulative energy of so many individual life stories, each unique, many ending in tragedy or perhaps with unfinished business, could certainly explain the intensity and the unparalleled variety of paranormal activity reported here. It's like a historical tapestry woven with spectral threads.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, before we wrap up, let's quickly touch on a few other striking locations our research highlighted just to round out the picture.
Sure, some rapid-fire examples.
Exactly. First, the Maryland State House in Annapolis. Reports there include the ghost of Thomas Dents, a plasterer who fell from the dome during construction,
A tragic accident.
a Revolutionary soldier, and an unknown presence felt in the very room where George Washington resigned his commission.
Wow, history and hauntings colliding right there.
Then there's Glendale Hospital, an abandoned tuberculosis hospital. Big, imposing, and off-limits now.
Abandoned asylums and hospitals. Always prime locations for spooky stories.
Totally. Rumored to have tortured patients, now reports of screams, banging, and apparitions seen through the windows. But crucially, it's not open to the public. You have to admire from afar, as they say. Trespassing is a bad idea.
Good safety warning. Definitely admire the creepiness from a distance.
Next, the Admiral fell in Baltimore's Fells Point. Stories of floating soldiers, a ghostly butler, and a really wild one. A hotel manager supposedly hearing a massive party in a completely evacuated hotel during a hurricane.
A phantom party during a hurricane. That's dramatic.
Isn't it? And finally, Hell House in Patapsco Valley State Park. These are the ruins of St. Mary's College.
Hell House. The name says it all.
Pretty much. Allegedly used for evil rituals and animal sacrifice after it was abandoned, now it's described as just a haunted pile of rubble.
So, ruins with a dark reputation attached. Another common trope.
Exactly. Just wanted to give you a sense of the sheer breadth of haunted locations across the state.
It's quite a list. Maryland certainly seems to have its share.
So what does this all mean? From the blood-soaked battlefields to the quiet solitude of lighthouses, the bustling halls of grand hotels, to the ancient stillness of cemeteries and those eerie ruins, Maryland truly offers a masterclass in the paranormal.
It really does.
These stories, pulled directly from our research, show us that hauntings aren't just isolated incidents, but seem to be deeply rooted reflections of the state's complex, often tragic, past.
Yeah. Our deep dive today consistently underscores how intimately history and human experience, particularly moments of intense emotion, tragedy, controversy, or even just daily life, like in the Hager house, are woven into the fabric of places.
Leaving an echo behind.
Exactly, leaving behind an energetic echo that some people perceive as a haunting. It's really about understanding the layers of the past and acknowledging that some narratives, some experiences, refuse to fade into silence. They demand to be heard, in a way.
Whether you're a skeptic or a seeker, these tales definitely challenge us to look at our surroundings differently, don't they?
They absolutely do. Makes you reconsider the history beneath your feet.
Perhaps you'll plan a visit to one of these accessible sites we talked about, listening a little closer to the whispers of history, or maybe just contemplate the stories layered into your own backyard, wherever you are.
History is everywhere, and maybe hauntings are too.
Maryland's rich history often comes with a spectral shadow, an undeniable presence from the past. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What stories are still waiting to be told by those who never truly left? Perhaps just waiting for someone like you to listen.